Hello, my name is Jonathan, and I wanted to do this little story for you live based on a trip that I made recently to Cedar City, Utah. A friend of mine, Ben Bullock, he's a student pilot, and his dad flies private planes, and his dad lives in Mission Viejo. On a Thursday night, Ben and Brian and I were sitting having a bite to eat and having some good times. It was about 10 o'clock, 10:30 on Thursday night. About 11 o'clock, Ben's talking and he says, hey, he says, either one of you guys want to go to Utah with me? And of course, Brian and I started, yeah, sure, we'd love to go to Utah. And then Ben starts telling us about this ranch that him and his family have back in Utah. It's 560 acres, been in the family for a long time. It's the Bullock Ranch. And they're going back there because you can't get to it in wintertime. It's over 8,000 feet in elevation, and so they have to go at the beginning of spring and open up the water pipes and pressurize the pipes and get everything working again. Beautiful place. So I said, yeah, I'd love to go, you know, blah, blah, blah. When? He says, well, you got to get on the plane at 2 tomorrow. This is Thursday night. He's telling me to get on the plane 2 o'clock on Friday afternoon. So I got to work tomorrow, right? So I said, all right, well, I'd love to go. Yeah, absolutely. Just drop everything. I got like 15 things scheduled this weekend. Drop it all. I'm gone. When am I ever going to get this chance again, right? So anyway, Friday comes. We get on the plane about 2 o'clock. We leave. We fly into Cedar City. It's about a 4-hour flight, headwind all the way, little dinky plane, and we're bouncing back and forth all over the air, and just especially the climb, the takeoff, incredibly scary. You're watching the ground get further and further away from you, and you're sort of bouncing around like a lollipop on in a swimming pool full of waves when my kids jump in and do the cannonball. Anyway, so we're flying. We get to Cedar City. We fly into town. On the way there, Ben's dad was the main pilot, and then Ben, of course, flew quite a bit on the way there. And then we landed, and we went to the grocery store, got some stuff, went up the cabin. It's quite a ways out of town. They're completely off the grid. It's all solar panels for electricity. And then the water they actually pipe from little springs around the mountains that they bring to a well system. There's 3 1,200-gallon tanks on top of a hill. Then the water's gravity fed down to the cabin. Gorgeous, beautiful cabin. You can go on to my photo albums at photos.yahoo.com/jbray71. See the pictures. Anyway, so we get to the cabin, and we were there all weekend. Incredible time. Great food. Quads all over the mountains, all over the place. They're right on the edge of a canyon. You can look down. You can see Zion National Park from there. Absolutely incredibly gorgeous. And then Sunday afternoon, we head back to town. We go to town. We do a few things. We get to the airport. We get our stuff loaded on. We go to climb on the plane. Ben climbs in the back seat. I said, no, what are you doing? I said, you got to help your dad fly. He says, no, sit up front. You'll have a better view. You can take better pictures, and you're gonna have more fun than you've ever had. I said, all right. So I climb in the front seat. We fill up with gas. We take off. We get in the air. We're up 9,000 feet in the air, and all of a sudden, we level out. Ben's dad looks at me and says, that's where you got to keep us? This gauge right here is the altimeter. It tells you how high you are. You need to keep it around 9,000 feet. Now, mind you, I've got a steering wheel in front of me with 2 handles. I'm turning right, turning left, just like driving a car. But now, I could pull back, and I go up. I push forward, I go down. We're riding on air. Absolutely incredible, incredible. So, right, we're flying. Then, when you're flying at a certain altitude, you move from one airspace into another. Salt Lake City handles one airspace, then you move into Las Vegas airspace. So we move into Las Vegas airspace, and he communicates. We've all got our headphones on. We're listening to the traffic controllers. They're picking us up on radar as we come into their area. And Bruce says, Mooney 11 Victor, permission to go to 10,500 feet. Air traffic controller comes back, permission granted. He looks at me and says, take us to 10.5. And I went, all right, cool. So now, not only am I turning right and left, not only am I pulling back on the steering wheel, but I am now climbing another 1,500 feet in the air, watching both wings, making sure that they're balancing out, keeping the horizon in my view, and climbing and watching my altimeter to make sure I'm going the right height. Don't go too high, too low, because we're flying at 10.5 now, and we've got air traffic control comes to us and says, you've got traffic at 1 o'clock. They're at 10,000 feet. They're headed your direction. So they're going to cross in the air about 500 feet underneath us. Now, it's our job to make visual confirmation. So we look out the windshield and we find the plane about a mile away at 1 o'clock headed our direction. They go right underneath us. Very crucial that we stay at 10.5. About 2.5 hours later, Bruce says, all right, I'm going to have to start bringing it down now because we're coming into John Wayne Airport and I've got to do the landing. That was it. Absolutely incredible weekend, and that right there just topped it off.